This is Creating Your Encore Career and Becoming a Silver Entrepreneur with your host, Lynn Freest. Lynn will share ideas and expert advice from people that are walking in your shoes and living their encore careers, where they want and at the pace they want. You'll start a company of one with confidence and knowledge to live a fulfilled life of freedom and ease. Lynn is a coach and leadership consultant whose mission is to show senior leaders and experts how to start something refreshing and new after a full career in the corporate environment.
Welcome to this episode of Creating Your Encore Career and Becoming a Silver Entrepreneur. Thanks for listening. Well, with an encore career, the rewards are better than a cold beer on a hot day. And you can be creating value in the world beyond just winning the next pickleball game. You can work when you want, where you want, and you can do the work you love. You can live the dream. So if you're ready to get started, please contact me at lynn@lynnfreest.com. Thank you. This is episode 170, and it's Secrets of Video Marketing with Cameron King. Cameron helps expert create better videos, and they help build your personal brand and then create impact. So some of the things that his business provides are video editing and production, brand marketing, also content strategy, and even video animation. So to keep getting attention and build a following, you need good content, and Cameron will help you with that. He's been creating videos for over 15 years, and he's worked with top brands like Volkswagen, Chrysler, the U.S. Olympic Committee. He's even worked with politicians and other interest groups. So with that, we're going to be talking with Cameron about some of the first steps you can take in creating videos for social media on your own. Some of the questions we're going to talk about is content creation in the moment, how he gets 10 ideas captured in 30 minutes, how the first steps you can use Zoom or your phone and use a really simple setup to get started. Then he'll describe how you have an outline to help you craft what is it you want to say. And then finally, we'll also talk about how to batch your work. So on with the episode. Well, welcome, Cameron. It's great to have you on the show here for Creating Your Encore Career. And I'd like to start off, you just recently did a series of postings to LinkedIn where you literally just carried your phone with you as you walked. And so I was curious to how you thought about that and how people like myself could make something like that work.
Yeah. So, that really pretty much started. I've been trying to do this challenge for the past, 2 or 3 weeks or so. I started I need to get my stuff out of my brain and onto paper first. So I've been challenging myself to write 5 posts a day. Now, I don't necessarily post them anywhere, but I'll just write it down. And just to get it on paper, some of the ideas are half baked or quarter baked, or sometimes they're fully baked. And if I feel like they're fully baked, and then I'll post that. But it's really just an exercise in creativity, and an exercise in creating, and an exercise in articulating or putting my thoughts into words in a clear manner. And so from that, just once you start doing something like that, your ideas start snowballing. And so what I did was I walk my dog most days. It's been kind of yucky weather lately, but I'll go walk my dog, and I had my phone with me, and I usually just try to zone out or pray or whatever, or just take in nature. But today I felt like, you know what? I've been writing all this content. I have all these ideas on paper. And I had some of this stuff memorized. So let me just go walk around the block and just record like 10 videos. You know what I mean? 10, or see if I can reach 10 in the 30-minute walk that I have. And so that's what I did. I just basically took the top 10 things that were in my mind at that time, or something came to me. I tried to see if I can squeeze it in under a minute. And then I probably recorded 10 to 15, but only really posted probably 5 or 6 of those, because some of them were, like I said, half baked, or I didn't really get the idea fully across or whatever once I looked at it again. But yeah, it was just more of a way of just exercising that muscle of creating in the moment and being able to say what it is you're thinking and to articulate your client's problems right there and give them a solution right there in under a minute, and posting that to LinkedIn, TikTok, to Instagram to share with people.
Sure. I guess I've been surprised a little bit when I've tried something like how much I can say in a minute. You can actually, and if you get to 2 minutes, actually said in written words, that's quite a bit. Thank you for that. And I think that's a great thing for any of us that are getting started in video. And because,
having people be able to see and hear us as well as talk, even though it's a short form, I think is people get to know and trust you, I think. Even though
exactly.
it's not
and
all polished.
And one of the biggest, and that's the key right there, right, is the unpolished part. One of the key things with people actually wanting to get on camera is the sort of, I don't know if it's fear or what it is. It's a little bit of fear and intimidation of getting in front of a camera and looking like there's a mindset of looking like you're being an influencer or narcissistic or whatever that is. And you just got to get over that, because you really got to look at it like, hey, I'm here to help other people. Mm-hmm. And if you get in the mindset of like, I'm helping people, I like this, I like creating things, and get past the fear of being behind the camera, that's key. And doing stuff in your natural environment, whether you're cooking dinner or going for a walk with your dog, will break past some of those fears of being behind the camera, because you get that practice.
Sure. Thank you. We didn't do this earlier, but I'd like you to now to share with us what your business is, yourself, your personal story. Share that with the audience.
Yeah, so I'm Cameron King. I'm an expert for experts. So what I do is I try to help experts start creating video content. So if you're in the coaching, consulting, you're a creator, but not necessarily a creator in the video space, I can help you get along with that. That's what I'm up to these days. My career actually comes from a marketing background. I've worked with big brands such as Volkswagen, Google, the Olympics. I did some stuff for them back around 2012. And then a few other just bigger brands. I've been doing mostly brand work my entire life on the video side. Mm-hmm. And just recently I've started doing a pivot, because my career and my story has been transformed by the coaches, the mentors, the thought leaders that I surround myself with and take in on a regular basis, have really transformed my life and taken me to another level financially, mentally, spiritually. And I was like, man, if I could just give back to these people with my expertise and help them grow, that would be really cool. So that's where I'm heading right now. And yeah.
Yeah. And we'll include links to your website, your LinkedIn profile, whatever you have available. So that'll be in the show notes. So people can come find you. I'm curious too, say but I'm a new person that's looking to get interested in video. I know we had a kind of a conversation down at Influence and Impact, but if you could share, what are some of the first things people need to consider as they start preparing to be on video or marketing themselves that way?
Yeah, some of the first things you need to consider that we mentioned earlier is that it's not that scary. One of the things I like to go through with people when I first have a conversation with them is some of the mindset pieces behind it. Like they want to get into video, but they're afraid to. And I still even have the resistance sometimes, depending on the day and what I eat for breakfast. But you can find all kinds of excuses not to show up. But it's really breaking past that mindset of, do I have to do this? Or should I do this? I should be doing this. When it's really like, you get to do this, you get to help people. And then the next thing is like, what gear, how do I actually execute this thing? And the wonderful thing about 2022, 23, coming up on 2023 is that you have the equipment, right? Mm-hmm. Right now, we're recording this podcast. It's an audio format, but I can see you through my video right now through Zoom, and we can record this and make this into snippets of video pieces, you know what I mean? Just to kind of keep the marketing game going. And it's right here on your computer, and all you're doing is you hit record on Zoom. And same thing goes when you're walking around. You have your phone. These cameras a camera that you have on your phone right now would have cost me $5,000 in 2010. You know what I mean? Or because now it's just so awesome. Like when I was in college, I had to borrow gear from people because I just couldn't afford it. Same thing with editing gear. To get in an editing bay back in the late 2000s, if I were to go and rent an editing house, it would have cost you $2,000 a day just to go and edit a video. And then the gear that those companies had to purchase in order to just edit videos, you're looking at least a $20,000 starting point to get the gear. And now you can edit video on your phone for basically free. You can do it for free. Obviously you can upgrade and do monthly subscriptions and stuff like that to get more features. But just to do basic editing, you can do that for free now. It's an amazing time to live in. And to be honest with you, it's a no-brainer. And no-brainer. And it's really cool.
Yeah, I think you mentioned some of the technologies that you even introduced me to one down there that I think called Captions, that automatically puts captions on your video. And I thought, well, that's something for a long time I thought was fairly difficult to do, and you had to spend a lot of money on. And here's a fairly inexpensive thing that just does it.
Yeah, exactly. So Captions app on your iPhone is for iPhone. I don't think they have an Android one yet, but there are Android versions that kind of do the same thing. A CapCut is one as well. It's a little bit more of a traditional editing software that you can do on your phone. But Captions is great if you're just doing a simple 30-second to camera, just spouting off a piece of wisdom. It'll do some, artificial intelligence speech recognition. You might have to think if you mumble like me, or if you talk really fast like me, you have to do some corrections here and there, but it's great. It's awesome. And it saves a ton of time. It's right there. And it's pretty much, and it standardizes how people view things online, which if you're a millennial like me or older, you probably watch things with your sound off. If you're Gen Z, you might watch it with your sound on. It just kind of depends on the generation. But if you're watching with your sound off, you're at work, people are at work, you can actually read what you're saying in the video. And plus it captures attention and highlights the things that you want to highlight.
Sure. Yeah, all this stuff is it's almost magic for me who has started it in the last century. But on the other hand, it's also so easy to use so that people can. It doesn't require, I'll say, the teaching or the skills that, as you said, it did in past years. But thinking about maybe a little longer form content, how would you approach it for people, say, that they want to do introduction videos or even maybe want to have 15-minute videos of some kind? How would you help people approach that?
If you want to start, are you referencing like recording a podcast or starting a YouTube channel?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there are different ways to do it. I would say the first thing to do is just get started, because when it comes to YouTube and pretty much anything nowadays, content, even in the old days, content is king, right? So if you have something worth talking about, people are going to listen. And as you get more listeners and stuff like that, then you can worry about upgrading gear. But I would say probably the best thing to do if you are doing podcasts is to get a basic audio setup. You don't want to be recording into your laptop microphone. So right now I have this Rode mic podcaster. I forget the name of it. It probably has some weird number behind it or something, but there's something that gives you clean audio. And there are other things that are fairly reasonable. I think this one was like $100. You can buy lavalier sets that are like $100, $200. Not bad for just getting some clean audio. Video, you don't have to worry about as much. Like I said, you can use the camera on your laptop or on or if you have a webcam. Mac just released something for there on their new operating system where you can use your phone now. So there are multiple ways to capture video. The most important thing really is just starting and having something worth talking about. And just going from there. And really, the process behind it and the planning behind it is probably the most important part, because I can sit here and talk about something all day long, but if I didn't plan it out, you're going to lose the audience. You're going to not have any structure to it. You're just going to be just yapping, and which works for some people. Those people have been doing it forever. So don't go and watch like somebody who just hops on a podcast every single day. They're good at it. They're masters at their craft. If you're just starting off, the most important thing is to plan and then hit record.
Sure. Maybe you could share with us some ideas, especially on the shorter videos. How do you go about planning those? I know I don't feel like I want to script it totally, but I also want to have something there to keep in mind as I'm talking.
Mm-hmm. So when it comes to experts, when it comes to consultants, coaches, your big thing is that you're solving people's problems. And most of us are. A business is essentially a place where people pay money to solve problems. So if you can help people solve their problems, that's awesome. That's value added. Now, a way to script that, a way to see that in a video script would be something simple like problem solution. The problem that you set up is your hook. Hey, do you struggle with creating content? That's a hook. That's a problem. Mm-hmm. And then you say, here are 3 ways to start creating more consistent content. And then you list those things out for 30 seconds, whatever that is. So really just think about things as problem, solution. Always start with a problem or symptom. A symptom is good too if you know your client's symptoms, and then give them a solution to that problem or symptom following up. That's the easiest solution. There are obviously some nuances to it and some tricks to it, but that's what I would do. And I have a 4-step formula that I use. It's hook, problem, solution, call to action. So it's a 4-step process where you hook them in, and you can generally hook them in with the problem. But if not, you can do things like say things like look or imagine if, or just like words that get people to stop the scroll, because that's what you want them to do. If the problem's big enough, they'll stop the scroll. But sometimes you have to do something a little, I wouldn't say gimmicky, but something that like, hey, he has something he wants to say. And then we go to the problem. Do you struggle with this? Or it doesn't have to be a problem. It can be like, here are 3 ways to solve this problem, and then you list out the solution, and then you do a call to action. And that doesn't always have to be sales. It doesn't have to always be like, hey, sign up for my program. It can be, hey, comment below if this helps you, or if you have anything else to add to this, or if you have another question, let me know in the comments or shoot me a DM. Some kind of call to action, something that gives something people to do after they finish your video.
Sure. Okay. And when we're doing this, especially on the social platforms, and I think maybe YouTube is a little different, but on the social platforms, it's relatively short videos that you're shooting for, right? So you don't want to solve a big problem necessarily with a huge solution. You'd probably do a shorter piece of it.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you were to create something for YouTube, I'm trying to think of an example right now, but basically if I say, again, here are 3 ways to create more content, I would just probably give the highlight. Step 1, make a daily journal habit. Step 2, record that journal habit. Step 3, release or whatever. I'm just making this off the cuff. But in a YouTube video or a podcast episode, I would actually dive deeper and break those down a little bit more, maybe with some real world examples. That way you can expound on it a little bit. So if I'm posting to TikTok, it's, here's your problem. Boom, boom, boom. Take these 3 steps. And then that's it. But for YouTube or a podcast, longer form, I would probably break into storytelling land and give them some examples, a little more added value, because at this point, they've gone past your TikToks or your Reels, and they want to get to know you more. They want to get to know your process more. They want to like you a little bit more. And so they're willing to listen to you more.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, that's great, because that gives me a way to think about how to do it and not be either overwhelmed by having to convey too much all at once. Yeah. So are there things that you help people with or that you're interested in? What kind of projects are you working on? Or
Yeah, so obviously there's this side of things where I'm teaching folks how to do this on their own. I actually have a course in the works right now. I'm going through with a small group of coaches and consultants right now, and I'm building that out. That should be out probably I'm thinking before the Christmas season comes into full swing. I know it's already in, but around the end of November, early December is when I'm thinking it's going to actually launch. So be on the lookout for that. And also, I'm starting to actually help people coaches, for instance, who don't necessarily have the time to create this content on their own. They have, let's say, for instance, they have weekly podcasts, coaching calls, consulting calls, and they want to just turn that stuff into micro content. While I'm helping them, they just create systems and save them time, really. What I'm touting right now is we can create you a month's worth of content in less than 30 minutes of your own time. You just give me the stuff, and my team will take your podcast, your YouTube, your coaching calls, whatever that is, and create micro content from that. So you always have a steady stream of micro content. And we'll do that by branding it, custom captions, putting tags at the end of it, making it optimized for the platforms, and really just taking it off of those experts' plates and handling it on our end. That's what I've been doing on the execution side. And then on my consulting side is helping out individuals and teams really form strategy and systems around creating more video content.
Sure. Okay. And we mentioned repurposing. And while this is a podcast, and so we're just on audio, we've actually recorded it on Zoom. So I would assume that if somebody was working with you, you could also just take like the Zoom call and break that into small pieces to put on as video content.
Absolutely. I know that you generally do yours in like the 20-minute realm, but you have some folks who do it like hour and a half. Those guys can get content for days. But we try to aim for 3 to 5 for an average podcast. That's the 15-minute to 30-minute range. You try to get about 3 to 5 pieces of micro content if it's really good, and create micro content out of that, so you can keep posting on your social feeds to promote your show regularly and get more eyeballs. It's all about capturing attention and keeping attention. So
sure. Yeah, and a lot of that, it is amazing how things can be repurposed in today's world too. I don't have to, if I'm producing some sort of video content, that can be used in a lot of ways, and you know how to slice it, dice it, and where to put it. So
exactly. Yeah. And the really cool thing too is that this is another mindset thing, is that a lot of times you can repurpose this stuff, right? If something like, say we're recording this today, we make some micro content for it the week that it releases or the week before to promote it or whatever. You can do that again. You can, like, maybe in a few months, the hot button topic is repurposing content, say like in June of next year or something. You're like, oh wait, Cameron King, he mentioned something about this. Let me repost that again. That way you can follow trends or whatever that is, and you can repurpose stuff. Even if you already posted it 6 months ago, you don't have to worry about repeating yourself because nobody's going to remember it, to be honest with you. But it is keeping your content calendar full in being able to repurpose it in a smart way for sure.
Yeah, I've actually done that with a few podcasts where I had some real interesting interviews I did, we'll say a year ago. I just reissued them because I'm sure people weren't going back and finding them automatically. So it was just an opportunity again to share it with a new group of people, probably. I was trying to think other things that I haven't asked you that you are sharing with people or that you're thinking about.
Other things that I'm thinking about. No, not really. I'm excited about what's coming up, and I really am looking forward to working with some of these awesome people that are out there in the world doing great things for others. They're helping others grow their careers and grow their life. That really excites me. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know personally, I've over time have asked people to help me do things that I suppose I could learn, but it's not the best use of my time. That's not where I add value to people's lives. I know working with folks like yourself in this arena or other arenas, whether it's design or different things, I'll always at best be a terrible designer, and I could never, I just don't have that talent, but I want to have others help me utilize those skills. So I think, again, that's what your role is, that if I'm a busy coach, consultant, or whatever it is, you can take that piece that would either take me years to learn or I'd never really be good at it. You can use your talents to actually make me more effective.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Once you get to a certain point, and I'm learning this too as I grow, is that you want to be able to operate, and a lot of people use this word, in your zone of genius, right? So you want to do things that light you on fire and delegate the things that don't. So if I don't like doing finance, which I actually do like doing finances, but at the same time, I don't want to do my taxes, then you give that to somebody, right? Obviously within a wise decision. If you're only making enough money to do so, then don't do it. But if you can delegate these things to free you up to do the things that are making more impact and more money for your business, then do so. If you need a team of graphic designers to create your Instagram carousels, and it doesn't break the bank, and it frees you up 2 to 3 hours a week so you can focus on money making tasks, then do so. Same thing with the video editing side. If you need somebody to do video editing or help you out with creating a system to at least save you time, by all means, that's what people like me are for, and I'm happy to help out. And it's really cool whenever you can start really operating more in your zone, and that way, not only are you operating in your zone more often, but you also have more free time to spend on the things that really matter in life, right? Spending time with your family and whatever else it is. You want to be one of those people who, you want to work only 15 to 20 hours a week, but still get paid like you're working 70 if you are right now. So
I'd like I say, I want to help people work when they want, where they want, and do the work they love. So it's probably not the old 50-hour a week grind they had in the corporate world. So I want to help them. And again, most of the people I work with are probably solopreneurs. Even in our corporate world, we had a marketing guy, or we had a woman who did this or that. Now it's us. So we still have to learn how to find the right pieces of talent for this kind of work that we don't know how to do. I was trying to think, any other tips and tricks? I think you mentioned some really good ones with the phone. And how about even holding the phone? Can you literally walk and hold the phone, or does it get too bouncy, or how do you go about doing some of that?
Yeah, walking and holding the phone. It kind of depends on one of the videos I posted. I was trying to talk too fast and walk at the same time, so I was a little winded because, like I said, I tend to, as you can probably tell in this podcast, talk faster than I can breathe. And so I'm like, and then I'm trying to catch my breath. Obviously, you got to know your own physical limits, but there are other things. As long as you hold the phone out in front of you, a reasonable distance, you don't want it too close to your face so people can see your nose hairs or whatever it is. Get out there. You want your camera to be slightly above you, so it kind of looks down on you a little bit. Not too much, not like sky high, but I don't know, maybe less than 45-degree angle from your face. That way, it just makes you a little bit more flattering. And also it doesn't look like you're looking down on people like Citizen Kane style, where you're like looking like people like they're smaller than you. So you want people to kind of look down on you, put you in a better light psychologically anyway. There's something to that. And then there's obviously, you can get stuff on Amazon, $10, $15. I have one back here, but just like a little iPhone tripod. It's a little thing you can just put your iPhone on. That way you can just set it up. And honestly, I've recorded entire YouTube videos on my iPhone just for fun. I have a DSLR that I paid with the lenses and all, probably 10 grand for it, because I'm also a videographer. So I have some primo lenses, but the camera itself was probably, I forget, $2,000, $3,000, something like that. And I use that as a webcam and also for client work as well. But let me see how much I can actually get done with this awesome piece of equipment I have that is my phone. And it's great, to be honest with you. If I didn't have that, the DSLR, I could survive. I can make videos. I know the rules and the techniques and all that stuff. And I can make award-winning pieces if I wanted to, just by using the cell phone. So yeah, and I hope that answers your question.
Sure. And I think you've mentioned earlier, I think in our earlier conversations, there's simple things like a lavalier mic or something like that can help you improve the sound, even if you're in informal settings with your phone and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. People probably won't be able to see this, but they catch the video anywhere. You can get these Rode Pro Mic 2s or whatever they are. I think they have it. This one might be the first version. They have a second version out now, but the Rode Go mics are awesome. They're very inexpensive. I remember keep referring back to the old days, 10 years ago, to buy a lavalier mic, a wireless lavalier mic would have cost you close to $1,000. And these are only a couple $100. And you can buy them in pairs now too, for like $100 more. That way you can do podcast interviews with another person or whatever that is. You can do like a dual interview. They're really made for creators like you, Lynn, and other people who want to create content with other people, and people who want to just be guerrilla style about it, or whatever. We called it guerrilla style 10 years ago. It's normal now. So I wouldn't call it guerrilla style. It's just minimal setup, clean audio, which is important. On that note, audio, I've always had this rule since the beginning of doing this 17 plus years ago, is that 70% of watching is actually listening.
Okay.
So, like if back in, I forget, late 90s, early 2000s, big movie was the Blair Witch Project. Terrible video quality. And there was other videos too movies that came out too around that time, like Paranormal Activity. Terrible video quality, but the audio sucked you in. It was just good audio. Like the storytelling was good, obviously, but the content was there. Like it was just intriguing. Didn't have to have great video quality, but you really need great audio quality. If I were to record the most beautiful video in the world, but you can't hear it, or if there's like a train going by or people banging on the desk in the background while you're trying to talk, I'm like, nope, I can't watch this right now. This is annoying. Audio is very important. I would say if you were to invest in something, obviously you have a cell phone. I imagine most people do. They have a camera on it. If you were to invest in something, definitely get a microphone that you can carry around and get some clean audio.
Great. Thank you so much, Cameron. This has been really informative, and I appreciate you sharing stuff with us. And certainly we're going to provide your links and stuff to your upcoming course, and so people can, again, contact you or get involved in your course when it's out. With all that, I thank you very much again for sharing everything today.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I love being on here. I love having conversations.
Again, many thanks to Cameron for this really insightful episode he provided. We talked about things like content creation in the moment, the first steps in using simple Zoom or your phone to get started, how you go about outlining and creating something to say in a short video, and then the benefits of batching your work. So finally, with an Encore Career, the rewards are great. You can be creating value in the world beyond just winning the next pickleball game. You can work when you want, where you want. You can do the work you love. So if you're ready to get started, contact me right away at lynn@lynnfriest.com, or head over to lynnfriest.com and you can listen to a few podcasts and get on the email list. So we'll see you soon. I want to thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.